What is up, people? It's time for Keeping It Real Estate on the Beach. I am your host, the Real Estate Coach, coming at you live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. right here from Cal State Long Beach, the beautiful campus, the busy campus this morning of Cal State Long Beach. With me in the booth, Frank Casares, REO. Frank, what's up, Frank?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
And the Dean of Homeownership University, Scott Shang.
Present.
And not present, but on her way, Alissa Alvarez, the mortgage mistress.
Circling the parking lot. Probably.
Circling the parking lot, wondering, where do I park? It's so hard.
Are we without bumper music again this week?
Yeah, I'm hitting the bumper music buttons. This is the part that Evan's really got to help me with.
Frank, just bust us out of tune or something.
I think basically I'm going to end up with an F in broadcasting. Frank.
Yeah.
That's the old Frankie C coming to us.
In the house.
In the house. Okay, so, when we normally start the program with the mortgage, we are going to start the program today with foreclosures. Now, look, I'm going to hit the little button that says foreclosure, sound effect, and nothing. So we're going to, oh my God.
That certainly looked like it should have worked.
It should have worked. It certainly, I hit the button, right? Everything's supposed to work when you hit a button. It is technology, as a matter of fact. Frank, we're going to talk today about how to prepare an effective counter offer. And I understand this comes from a little bit of a rant perspective.
Every week. It's a rant. Every week. I like to talk about things that I'm affected or buyers are affected by every week. And this is a subject that we've talked about before, but for whatever given reason, buyers and their agents are just not getting it. I put quite a few properties on the market in the past few weeks, and some of them are really hot properties, priced very well, ready move-in condition, multiple offer situations. I've had at least 3 or 4 of them the past month where I've had over 25, 30 offers for the property. Right. And I'm constantly getting these offers in, and everybody gets countered, by the way. And usually, and we've talked about this before.
We've talked about that. Everybody gets countered the same.
Get countered.
Well, no, this is a great conversation. This doesn't have to be a rant, but what it really is it's the inability of real estate agents to recognize that there's been a shift in the market in the last couple of months.
And we talked about this before.
This goes back to hiring the best team.
I mentioned that you need to be prepared. Okay, we talked about it a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
if you don't have your approval letter,
right.
You missed the boat.
Well, if you don't have your approval letter, and you also mentioned a couple of months ago about get ready because
you need to have
it's going to get hot.
You need to have your strategy. You need to have your target area.
You need a real estate agent that knows what the heck they're doing.
You need a real.
Do you know any of those guys, Frank?
I don't know.
I hasn't met any of them lately.
Apparently
That's
not.
for damn sure.
Hey.
So first.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, Alissa.
Hey, Alissa.
We're talking about preparing an effective counteroffer. It's a semi-rant, but
it's a
not
semi-rant.
Yeah, Frank's had some difficulties.
Because things are heating up out there.
Say hi to everybody, Alissa.
Hey, guys.
There
I'm
you go.
winded.
I'm winded.
There you go.
She had to
I
run.
totally ran.
Did you run from parking lot Z?
Yes.
So
Double Z,
parking
I
lot
think.
double Z.
There was an open zip car space. I was like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I was kind of
Frank, what were we talking about?
We're talking about how bad people are with their counters, basically.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and Scott hit it right on the head. This is a different environment. You cannot start off low ball and then try and inch your way up and see yourself as the victorious buyer. You got one shot at it nowadays. For your counter, you got to go for broke. Okay, I've had quite a few buyers actually call me directly, going past their agents, beyond their agents, call me directly and say, hey, I see that this property is pending now, and it's pending, and I could have paid more for it, and so on and so forth. And I tell them, well, why didn't you go for broke when you had your counteroffer? Oh, well, I figured I'd get countered again. That's not the process right now.
Okay, hold time. Again, this is the nugget. If you're going to miss it, don't. In this particular state right now, when you're talking about REOs, foreclosures, distressed properties, whatever they might be, you get one shot at a counter. Everybody gets countered, no matter what their offer. You get one shot at a counter, so make it your best shot.
Make it your best shot.
This is what people are. They think it's a game. They think it's back and forth again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to counter. You're going to counter.
Blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
But here's the thing. We're almost going back to a normal market where you're not required to be countered. Frank just happens to be countering people because he's representing the bank.
Yeah.
But in a normal market, you don't get countered if you're not in the running.
So with the equity sales right now, you may not get a counter.
You may not get a counter when Frank's banks decide we don't want to waste the paper. Take the top 5, get best and highest and best from them. There's no law that says that you get a second chance.
It is their policy, but Scott's right. There is no law.
No.
Will we know? Will they basically say, okay, we're changing up a little bit?
No, so this is. I mean,
You'll know
Frank
when you
would
lose
be
the
able to.
house.
Frank would be able to tell us. But what this is, and this is. I'm sorry, Frank. I don't want to hijack your rant.
No.
But
Too late.
what this is you got to pay attention to this because Frank is the guy selling you the home. And he's telling you right now, that if you come in ill prepared and you're trying to make an offer on a home that you really want, and your real estate agent is some kind of schlub that doesn't understand the industry and is willing to go out there and risk your offer, they need to pay attention. All they need to do is ask you, "Hey, Frank, what's the conditions on this? What are we looking
The funny
at?"
thing is when I'm seeing the original offer sheets come in the approval letters, I don't know. I'm probably one of the only REO agents that actually reads the approval letter and I see what they're qualified for. So, for example, I've got a property and it's listed at $320. And I see these people are approved for $450, and I'm saying to myself, okay, these people have a margin. They can compete with everybody and overbid on everybody else. And then I see that person's original offer is maybe $310, and then they counter back at $320. I can almost tell myself that they're going to be upset, because I see they like this house, and they've got so much room to come up, but they probably think that they're going to get another counter. So I'd let the agents know, this is your buyer's opportunity right here. It may be the only opportunity, and once you know it, that same buyer, for whatever reason, that was one of the same buyers that called me upset because they knew they could have gone higher. They just chose not to and figured they could inch their way up with a second counter.
Well, the readers of Homeownership University on Tuesday are going to get a new article about the shift from the buyer's market to the seller's market.
It's not a buyer's market.
No,
And it's not necessarily a seller's market in terms of price.
Well, no, in terms of how you approach making an offer, because it's a buyer's market because interest rates actually.
Exactly.
Alissa missed it.
Exactly.
Or we didn't do the mortgage update yet, but they hit all-time lows again last week.
So then you would agree that although foreclosure inventory is up about 17%, buyer applications are up 20+%. And so the inventory, although increased from last year, is still not meeting
There's greater
the buyer
demand. There's greater demand than there is inventory right now.
Look, I don't know if I would categorize it as good or bad, but I can tell you it's an insane market right now. It's strange.
Like in
it's
a
weird.
different way.
It's new. And this type of information that Frank is giving us right now is the exact reason this show is on the air. In that, look, we're giving it relevant information about today's market right now. If you want to buy an REO foreclosure, whatever it might be, get on the ball and do it right. You get one offer, and then you get one counter offer. Make it right.
Maybe.
I don't care. Maybe, and I don't care what your agent thinks they can do back and forth. That's crap.
And actually,
they can't.
Comment from many agents have been, we're countering here. I've tried to tell my buyer we need to go higher. They just don't want to. So there are a lot of buyers out there not listening to their agents, and if what your agent is telling you is true, this counter is your shot.
The agent's being irresponsible by not saying. I mean, listen. If I was out selling real estate again, and I haven't done it in a while, but I would say, listen, you either want this house or not. If you really want this house, you've got to. First of all, I would have a conversation with you, Frank, and I'd say, Frank, what's the activity on this house? And you can say, we got multiple offers. I'd make your best.
Yeah.
And I would go back to my buyer and I would say, listen, here's a CMA. Here's the comps. Here's probably about what the house is going to go for. You're going to have to be aggressive if you want this house. If you don't, don't even try.
Though, I see this a lot happening, and I hate to say it, but oftentimes agents will do that. And I even see it on my side of the side where we're trying to give them advice, but at the end of the day, the buyer's the boss. And if you are a buyer listening, this is where creating or hiring the proper team comes in, because at the end of the day, they know things that you may not know, that may not even be on your radar. And if you don't trust them, maybe, to trust what they're trying to tell you, the advice.
Who, the buyer or
the buyer? Because there's so many times there's a lot of agents who tell this, and the buyers still insist because they hear various things in the media that they can be bargaining. Yeah. And I think they would shorten their time of looking.
Frank, did you have a chance? Do you have a chance to break this down, or do you need to do it a little more of this next week?
I think. Well, we can do a little more next week because
we should update this every week just to market conditions.
Let's just say today's nugget was exactly what we talked about. That if you're going after these foreclosed properties, do it right and be in the game, get in the game. Mm-hmm. And next week we'll pick it up and talk a little bit more. And actually, some of the topics later today may even play into this.